The MSRP on this is $49.99, but if you can't find it in the store or somewhere in Ohio, it's probably going to run you 8,200 bones.
Welcome everyone to episode 118 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Anthony and Steven. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, sir. Back in action.
Back in action.
Back in action from the West Coast. You West Coaster?
Yep.
Are you going surfing now and tanning and whatnot and everything else? Is that what's going on?
I'm growing a mustache.
Oh, yeah. Hey, the mustache is in right now. You know that?
It is.
Yeah. I was actually, we're doing back to school now.
We are.
And when I got to meet my students at the local university that I work at, I like calling it the local university I happen to work at.
Small little place.
Yeah. I saw at least 3 mustaches out of like 20 some people. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, well, it's a lot of mustache.
Well, it's the mustache, it's the man bun, and it's the sleeve tattoos. That's the common look everyone has.
Yes, but no, really, it's good to have you back in action. We missed you.
Yeah.
When you're running around come on, can't you just quit work and do the podcast full time?
Yeah, well, we're going to try to bank these because I got to leave again.
There you go, right?
I'll try to bank some, and so hopefully this great voice you hear will fill the airways while I'm gone.
That's right. We need more of that. So what the heck you been up to?
Well, before I left, I had a little incident in my basement.
This sounds good.
I had to share. I saved this. I made a special note so I could remember to tell you when I got back.
Steven's got the notebook out. You scribbled remember to bring this up when I get back. I love it. So right. let's hear it.
So. You probably have a beer fridge or whatever in your garage, right?
Well, I have a little bit of beer in the garage,
right.
But the beer that I like to age a little bit, I call it like a little beer well, right? Okay. So it's just a little part in the cabinet where I have some beer, and sometimes on top of a cabinet, I have that stuff. But it's not refrigerated. It's just kind of out and about in different places,
gotcha.
like Easter egg hunt. Like over there's a Founder's Breakfast Stout or something like that. Like that.
So our basement, we have a fridge down there.
Yeah,
and so it's overflow of food from upstairs, and we keep extra milk or whatever, and then I usually fill it with beers, and soda, so we have it. So I brought back all these milks, and we put them in the refrigerator.
How many milks are we talking here? I know you get
I usually buy we buy the half-gallon size, and so it's usually 2 to 3 gallons at a time. So 4 to 6 half gallons we put in there.
That's a lot of milk. Well,
well, unbeknownst to me that I came back after I put them in there. And I opened the refrigerator. I'm like, what is this?
Oh, no.
There was I guess a seam had come out on one of these half cartons.
Oh, jeez.
And it was slowly dripping milk out.
Okay.
And so I put the milk on the second shelf. But below it, I have these, these nice annual Goose Island bourbon beer releases that come out once a year.
Yeah.
And they're underneath of this.
Oh, God.
And along with, everything else.
Oh, no.
So I have to clean this up.
I'm just imagining the milk everywhere now.
Oh, yeah.
On top of the beer.
It had dripped down to the bottom drawers and everything. So
wait a minute. How long had this happened? How long of time lapse? Because if you got milk sitting around, was it actually did it smell bad?
Because it was cold, no.
Okay,
but
good.
Because it was exposed to air,
yeah,
it had started to harden or kind of.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing about this.
It kind of really attach itself to the beer bottle.
I'm reveling in your misfortunes here. No, go ahead.
So I had to take these bottles out, right, and then I soak them in a little tub of water to loosen it up as I'm trying to clean all this crap out of the refrigerator.
I can only imagine this visual. Why don't you call me? I'd love to see this.
So 20 minutes later, I finally have it cleaned up.
Yeah,
but. Of course, these bottles of beer have been sitting in lukewarm water.
Oh, no.
And they start, they're getting sweaty at this point.
Trying to accelerate the skunking process.
Yeah. So my question to you.
Okay. I'm not a beer expert.
Well, okay. Well, my question to you is did I ruin these beers? By letting them get kind of warm, not warm, but they got a little warm because they went in the fridge and they were sitting in water, which I guess could be the same thing as cooler ice water. But What are your thoughts on this?
Well, this is interesting because I've always wondered, if you think about it, this is a similar concept to what happens when you have like a get together outside in the summer. Like right now in Kentucky, it's blazing hot.
Oh, God.
And so if you're going to chill any kind of beverage to have like a picnic or whatever you're going to be doing or having friends over or whatever, you're going to put it in a cooler with a lot of ice. Mm-hmm. Chances are, and everyone's been there, that cooler is going to have a ton of ice in it. You're going to have a good time at night. You're not going to drink all the beer in it. Maybe some of you would, but my house, it's not going to all get drank, and then it's going to be sitting in there, and the next day, it's going to hit a certain threshold where you need to get that beer back out of the cooler, or else what's going to happen is it's going to heat up in the sun, and it's become like an oven in there, right? Yeah. So I don't think that we're talking about the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I'm in a basement, not outside.
Yeah, you're in a basement. You're not outside. And then the other thing I was going to say is when we talk about anything like spoiling or skunking, and I hope the beer experts that come back, like, I'm thinking of specifically right now.
What?
I'm thinking of Jason Hale because he's a beer guy. And so Jason,
this would be a good question to him.
Yeah, he'd probably be like, "You're an idiot." If he
I'm going to phone a friend.
You got to phone a friend. You pick up the phone and call him. We should. But I bet you he would. If I had to think, he would probably say that it's a little bit more resilient than you think it is. I could be wrong, though, because if you think about it, when they ship this stuff, it's going to be going from like whatever temperature it's at when it's bottled into a truck somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's going to be exposed to the elements. It's probably going to be cooled and it's going to be hot and everything else. So I'm thinking it probably wouldn't affect it that much. I've always thought light is what really affects any kind of alcohol.
And those bottles are super dark, the bottles themselves.
Okay. So maybe that's why they're really dark.
Like, doesn't let the light in.
Yeah.
So, but I just had this vision as this milk destroyed my,
destroyed all your beer.
What are those bottles, like $30 a bottle? Or
some of them are, yeah, $30-$40 a bottle, yeah.
And they got ruined by milk.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, "Hey, Steven," you're gonna pop one open like next when it starts to get cold out. You're gonna be like, "Oh, this one tastes a little bit different." You find some hardened milk under the cup.
I'll just blame it on the aging, right?
Oh yeah, there you go. Say that the aging made it go bad, but no, that's.
I'll be like, 2020 wasn't a good year. Meanwhile, it was like spoiled milk, right?
Oh my God,
Anthony, I'm super excited now that we have kind of a backlog of shout outs to give out.
Absolutely.
So let's get it going.
All right. So this review actually came in, I think, sometime maybe end of July. And this person is screen named Greg Janko 0874, which that may be a birthday, right?
If it is, happy birthday, because we're recording in August.
That's right. So it might be a happy birthday. So the title of the review is Mike in Lexington. And he says, "I couldn't be more thrilled to have stumbled upon your podcast recorded right here in Lexington, Kentucky. This delightful auditory journey has elevated my appreciation for bourbon to new heights." Oh my God, I like this guy already. "Your passion and knowledge about bourbon are palpable in each episode, making it engaging and educational experience. Your selection of bottles reviewed has been spot on. I dig the fact that you review everything from high-end to everyday pours." Then he says, "I picked up a bottle of the Buzzard's Roost cigar rye and flipped out when I saw that you did an episode on it. And hearing you tell stories."
I'm jealous that he has a bottle.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
have a bottle of that.
I know, right? He said, "Hearing you all tell stories about things that I remember happening firsthand has made me feel more connected to your podcast." He said, "The podcast leaves me eagerly anticipating each new episode. I wholeheartedly have recommended it to all my bourbon buddies." We love that. He said, "Cheers to the host for creating such a fantastic podcast right here in our backyard."
Well, Mike or Greg.
Mike or Greg.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was very nice. And I'm glad you enjoy the show.
I know that might be like legit one of the best reviews I think we've ever gotten on the podcast.
It's very heartfelt.
So, very heartfelt, yeah, and we just really appreciate that. So,
if you'd like a shout out, just leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The next time we record, we will give you a shout out.
No doubt, and then please, mimic Mike's method.
Minimum of 3 paragraphs.
There you go. Exactly.
We need stanzas here.
That's what we need.
So Anthony, we have a gold top tonight.
Oh yeah.
Some will call it a tater bottle.
Yep.
For tonight, we have a bottle of Weller Antique 107.
Oh yeah, that's passionately called OWA. For those of you out there in the listening audience that know this bottle well, this is distilled by Buffalo Trace, the Sazerac company, Daddy Saz. The bottle date is actually 2023. The ABV on this is 53.5. Proof is 107. There's no age statement, but the old bottle used to carry a 7-year age statement, and now the rumor is that this liquid is 6 to 7 years old. The mash bill, as we've said many times in reviewing Buffalo Trace Wheaters, is undisclosed. The MSRP on this is $49.99, but if you can't find it in the store or somewhere in Ohio, it's probably going to run you 8,200 bones.
Well, I'm going to pause on the bottle right now.
Okay.
It's always been referred to as OWA,
right?
Which we know is Antique 107.
Yep.
I only see a W and an A on the bottle. Where is the O?
Where's the O? Well, it's interesting you should say that, because back when these used to be in the old squat bottles, some called pirate bottles, I'm pretty sure it said Old Weller Antique right on the label. I know that it said old in cursive script. And when they moved to this new bottle, they seem to have left old off of here. Maybe that's because the age statement's gone.
Now,
that might be it.
Do we need to worry about, is this kind of like a new Coke recipe versus old Coke, that they kind of left the old off and now a new Weller?
Oh, well, that's debated, because the old ones go.
You know what? This could be NWA now instead of OWA.
Where are you going with that? NWA, new Weller Antique. Oh no! What I was thinking was much different. Of course, that's really good. Yeah, we're gonna have to start a trend, right?
Right.
Tell Buffalo Trace, they're gonna be like, huh? They ain't gonna listen to us about that.
Just walk into liquor bar and say, I need some NWA.
Yeah, can I get some NWA, please? It's the red label NWA. But no, honestly, like when we joke on it, but this bottle, we've reviewed. I'm trying to think.
I did special reserve.
Special reserve.
12.
Mm-hmm. The white label, which was CPB.
I always get it mixed. Yeah, I always get it wrong.
You say CPB?
Yeah.
Never mind.
I'm going to put PB in there somewhere.
PBY. I think we did, I think that's it. I think that's all we've done for the Weller line.
We didn't do the Weller Rye, did we?
No. Weller Rye. You got me for a second. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Oh, man, I thought we were off the reservation. Yeah. We did have a pre-pour of this, so I was like, maybe we're already loopy. But no, since we've covered the other bottles, and you've described this one before, it looks like the others, only it's got
red,
golden red.
Yep.
And so...
Then this is the gold top new bottle.
Right. They used to not have that foil on top. Right. It used to be the wonderful, when we say foil, we're talking about foil with a cork and a gold cap. And before we used to have that foil cap that you just screwed on and off the bottle, which I think is still on the Special Reserve and on the Weller 12, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't dress up Weller 12 because it's that swill.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to give that a cork. We need to give a cork to the expensive bottles. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty good. I think the only thing that would be different about this bottle, if we wanted to talk about it, would be this right here on the back. They tend to have different stories about the Weller family on the back of this bottle. Have you looked at this one?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, I'm not going to read it all because apparently people don't like that. But, it's the classic thing where they talk about William LaRue Weller being the first person to use wheat instead of rye in his mash bill. Oh, my God. Changed the course of history. And bourbon was so popular when WLW was out there that he had to put a green thumbprint on his barrels to ensure that customers were receiving the real deal. How about that?
I mean, that's great stuff.
Yeah, they couldn't come up with those kind of, they didn't have high tech back then. It was just to go around and dip your hand around and smack it on the barrels. So
give it a shake.
That was the legacy they needed.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to point out about this bottle that's bothering the heck out of me. So I was lucky enough to get this bottle recently. First of all, the shape of this is it's a bowling pin.
It is.
It looks like you could set these up and bowl with them.
I mean, I can't tell if that's a bowling pin or a Bud Light from the bowling alley.
Oh, you can't say Bud Light anymore. Bud Light's been canceled.
Well, I just said it.
So what the hell's with this seam? Excuse me, but like this seam that like there's a seam where the glass goes together and it's almost like misaligned.
I'm guessing that they find a new manufacturer of their glass bottles that made it cheaper.
I don't know, maybe, but God, that looks like
an awful seam.
Yeah, it looks like a toddler put this bottle together.
And especially when over the back sticker. I mean, there's it's ugly.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing. I've seen some pretty pronounced seams before on different Weller bottles, but this one is the most egregious I've ever seen. It's almost like the glass is separated. You can like fill a lip. I'm wondering if it's going to like crack in half.
So on the bottom, I just noticed, I'm guessing it's 03 on the bottom.
Okay. I don't know what that is. It's not got anything to do with the year. I don't know what the 03 is. It must be the manufacturer's thing because, BT has the laser codes on there, and this one is etched in L23, I believe. This is a current OWA. Yeah, there it is. So you get your L23, then you got all these other numbers that people are confused by. Nobody knows what they mean, but that's apparently supposed to be some way of verifying it's authentic. That's a new green thumbprint.
Nice.
So you came back, and we had to go full tater. And you know me, I've always said that I love being embraced as a Buffalo Trace tater. I've said it 1,000 times, and I say that with like a positive and a negative connotation. But for me, it's only positive. So as we mentioned before, we've done some Wellerz before in past episodes. But in addition to the Wellerz, we've also done the BT Kosher Wheat. And then we also did the Old Rip Van Winkle. So do you remember that? We did an Old Rip Van Winkle, I think.
Episode 10.
Episode 10.
I
oh,
remember.
My God. Nostalgia.
That might have been one of the first episodes you came over to the house.
I think it was, yeah.
Because it was our 10th episode, and it was a big deal that we all were in the same room.
No longer on COVID, right? And so, yeah, it was a big deal that we did that. But I was thinking to myself, like, when we talk about those Wellerz and everything else, and sorry.
It's singular. Not Wellerz.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me there. When I say Wellerz, I was thinking about this Weller and the cost of it. We'll get to that in Pass, Try, or Buy toward the end, but I just wanted to mention it real quick because I think you got something else on your mind. The Special Reserve is under $30. It's like $25, right? Something like that.
I passed up a bottle in Colorado.
How much was it?
About that.
About 30?
I think it was mid-30s.
Okay, that's good.
I had my protective bourbon packaging that I've been traveling with.
You still haven't filled it up?
And I passed it for some stupid reason.
Okay.
And I kicked myself.
Well, I wouldn't worry about it. I got some Special Reserve at the house.
I always think, should I pick this up for like a gift? Because we're getting to that season now.
Yeah, it's true.
And I should just pick it up just to have an extra one on hand as a gift. Thank you to someone.
That is a good gift to have. So that SRP is cheapest of all of them. Then the Weller 12 is actually next. If you got a Weller 12 for actual true suggested retail price is like $40.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the line, the single barrel, the CYPB.
That's why it's got a screw top.
Full price. That's right. They're keeping the screw tops cheap. The rest of the line's got cork.
Over 40.
Over 40 and it becomes cork. Yeah.
Under, so that's a screw top.
Those are all
a hard line. It's a hard line.
God, they do such magical stuff at Buffalo Trace, don't they? And so when you think about that and you have the true one and this are all matching at around $49.99 except for the Special Reserve and the 12, it's kind of crazy. So what were you wanting to do with these Wellerz? You were talking about poor man's pappy or something? What were you talking about?
Or you know what everyone says. You take some ratio of NWA here.
That's going to get me every time.
And you take some ratio of W12.
Okay.
And you combine them. I'm going to say it's half and half. I don't know. And it's,
maybe. I have seen this somewhere.
And I guess what's it supposed to be? What's it supposed to equate to? It's supposed to be a lot B? No, I guess not a lot B. It's supposed to be like a 15?
I think it's supposed to be like 15.
I can't imagine it being anything more than that.
Yeah, I think it'd be 15.
Because 15 is not good to begin with, so I don't know what they're comparing it to.
Oh, yeah. the extensive experience you've had with the 15? Yeah.
So I'd rather just drink these two by themselves and be happy. But
I can't remember. I think that was somebody gets credit for that. I think it might be the guy that has Seal Box, Blake Reaver. I think he gets credit for Poor Man's Pappy.
I just know if we were with Kenny tonight.
Oh yeah, he would be probably mixing up the ratio of 12 and
I would appreciate it. He would get it perfect, and I'll be like, well, I guess maybe they're on to something.
There you go, right? Yeah, he definitely would be mixing it up though, and you're right. Maybe it would be. So
should we sniff NWA?
I think so. Let's go for the first nosing here.
Cherry bomb right off the bat.
Yeah, you get cherries. You got. I always talk about just like a light berry note, caramel, a little vanilla. Are you picking up any astringency at all in the nose, like any kind of ethanol?
Very slight.
Yep.
I'm getting a big whiff of it though, so it might just be me. But I mean, it's nothing that is putting me off.
Yeah, me either. I mean, it's a really very, very light. But damn, this has a really nice nose. I mean, episodes ago, I talked about when my aunt and uncle visited from Ohio, and we went to BT. I think it was only the second time I'd been there, and they took us through a warehouse and said, "You are amongst the aging stocks of Buffalo Trace's weeded mash bill."
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Who's your tour guy?
Nah, it was who was it? I don't know. I like this voice I'm using now. And he made all these comments about. I know I told this story before. My uncle was like so excited. He was like, you know how there's like leakers on the barrels and stuff. He was like nosing the barrels and doing all kinds of fun stuff. But this scent and aroma hasn't changed. It's a timeless classic nose.
I just think this is like a beautiful nose.
I agree.
It's got a little bit of everything. It's got like, a little bit of caramel, the cherry, the berry. It's got a little bit of heat, but not too much.
Right.
It's full, but not too full.
Mm-hmm. No, it really is.
I feel beautiful. Like there's a hint of like dessert in there somewhere. And my first thought was peanut butter.
Okay.
But I'm starting to come back from that a little bit. Yeah. I feel like there's something there and I can't place it.
I've always like thought that it's got like a little bit of a baked good kind of a note to it, but a sweet baked good.
Right.
And I don't know, almost like cinnamon sprinkle. But I can't tell if that's cinnamon sprinkle or like nutmeg. Not sure. Don't have my flavor wheel here that we have, For those of you guys that don't know, we have this flavor wheel. I'm joking. We don't have any flavor wheel. Did you get your nosing kit, Steven?
It came yesterday by Amazon.
Yeah. It wasn't just a bag of rocks. Smell this gravel. It smells delicious.
This is great.
Yep. As we're nosing this and chatting about it, I can't help but think about the fact that we haven't talked on our podcast yet about one of Buffalo Trace's most recent innovations and extensions of this line, which is the Daniel Weller experimental bourbon that they're bringing out. I mean, it's already out, but guess how many people I know that have gotten their hands on it?
3.
No. Oh. It's not even 3. It's a 0.
Oh, okay.
I don't know anybody who's gotten their hands on this. It's like a emmer wheat, which is an ancient grain from Egypt, which I don't know why Buffalo Trace is into putting ancient Egyptian grains into the still, but they think that's a really cool thing.
I thought we only wanted Egyptian cotton for our sheets.
Hey, isn't that like the MyPillow guy? Doesn't he have like he has certain fields that he sources his cotton from? What a great commercial. He's showing you these fields that are over in Egypt. Yeah, I'm sure that's really where it's coming from. So this Daniel Weller, there's been a lot of discussion about it. The only person I've seen that's drank it, I think, is like some of the online review people have gotten their hands on bottles and stuff like that. But I think it was a while back. Buffalo Trace did something with their amaranth, right? Wasn't amaranth the E.H. Taylor amaranth? Wasn't that another Egyptian grain? Do you remember that? I did a E.H. Taylor amaranth.
E.H. Taylor, yes.
Grain of the gods.
Yeah.
So for some reason, Buffalo Trace is trying to like stick all these ancient Egyptian grains into the still and see what happens. But this time, they actually cooked up this massive, great story. Do you see this? Do you see this ridiculousness in front of you?
It's a lot of stuff.
I actually had to give Stephen like we compare notes sometimes, but I actually like just grabbed some of this from BT's website because it was so just insane.
Looks really official.
It's official, but Daniel Weller is actually he would be grandfather, so that would be Papa, right?
Yep.
Papa Daniel Weller. He was the first distiller, the generations of pioneers that followed him. And basically the way Buffalo Trace is honoring old Papa there is by talking about this ancient grain that's rarely seen in modern day stills. So apparently 12 years ago, they had enough foresight to put this emmer wheat distilled whiskey down and honor old grandpap with an ancient Egyptian grain. Does that make any sense to you? What does that have to do? And then if you read further, it talks about the fact that Daniel Weller's, the whole Weller family actually distilled rye before they distilled wheat whiskey. I mean, it just seems like a massive stretch to me. I'm giggling over here because it seems like just a massive amount of marketing. What say you?
Well, you know, Anthony.
Yes, sir.
With this family tree expanding to Daniel.
Okay.
Good grandpa Daniel.
Yeah.
I'm sure in the hollers of Kentucky, they were really wondering what the Egyptians were doing with the grains.
Yeah, they may have.
I think they have. So I think this is
why.
You're serious. This is why the Daniel Weller bottle expression came out to us.
Okay. Yeah.
It's from it's from their minds.
Okay.
Way back when.
Way back.
And they're tithing with the Egyptians.
Oh, yes.
Trading. Yes.
Wow, man. See, you get it.
Yeah, I get it.
You get it.
I'm surprised you didn't know this.
Yeah, I completely got lost in this marketing story. Well, anyway, I would just say this. The whole connection to this, real quick, to tie it back in with this wonderful story you just told, is that when Daniel passed away in 1807, he left no will requiring his son Samuel, who was William LaRue's dad, to purchase the stills and the equipment to continue the family legacy. And then that's when he passed it down, and W.L. Weller and Sons was founded. And then next thing you know, we're sitting here tonight talking about this delicious bottle of OWA. And I think red and gold were the original family colors from the crest too. I think that was passed down straight from Papa.
Well, Anthony, after that family lesson, let's go ahead and go for our first taste.
Shoddy history. It's my favorite part of this podcast is giving shoddy history. Of course, it's BT tatered out shoddy history. So There you go. Well, let's see what old Daniel was up to when we sip this. Oh, wait, we don't have ancient Egyptian grains. I got him to laugh, ladies and gentlemen. How does that taste now?
Well, it hurt.
It hurt a little bit? Okay. Weller hurt? Sorry. It's good laughing.
Well or not.
Well or not. So, one thing that I didn't pick up on the nose, which is so pronounced and so good in this right now, is like a very nice seasoned oak.
Right.
Like, it's so, like, this, to me, when people talk about they don't like to taste oak, if you don't like to taste oak, try OWA because you're going to get the nicest, sweetest oak note that you'll ever taste.
So good.
Yeah. What else are you picking up?
Well, you get that little bit of cheri coming through on it.
Right. I agree.
But just so warm.
I agree. That's a good mouthfeel.
Yeah.
It's the cherry, the well-aged oak.
A little warm going down. Mm-hmm. Let you know you're drinking something.
Yeah. And I accidentally ran out in the middle of tasting this here, so,
I like to know your thoughts.
Watch out. Coming in hot, like Daniel Weller. Oh, we're going in for more, too. So something interesting is happening here when we're tasting. This bottle was a fresh crack. And
what, the cup's going empty?
and it seems like we're drinking more of it than we would otherwise. And so I don't know if that's going to signify where we're going here eventually, but
I just want to get this bottle done. Just get done with it.
So other tasting notes here. If I got to compare this a little bit since we've tasted other products, to me, this is a little more aggressive and a tiny bit more spicy than like CYPB or, of course, Special Reserve. But I think
it is definitely more spicy than Special Reserve.
Yeah.
Hotter, too.
Yep. But it's in a good way. It's not a bad way.
Excellent way.
It's like what you want. It actually gives more teeth and more bite.
If Special Reserve's the honey subtle pour, this is the full body.
Yes.
Grandpapa of the Special Reserve.
I think you just got Grandpa on the mind, right?
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah, it's good. So there's a lot of different notes going on here, but I've drank, OWA for quite a long time, and this is the first time I've had it in a long time, and the first time I've had a bottle of 2023.
Yeah.
So I'm liking what I'm tasting. So Stephen, I'm not sure, as co-hosts of a podcast, right? Do you listen to a lot of other bourbon podcasts? I think I've asked you that before, and you said you don't really, right? Listen to a lot of other bourbon podcasts.
As an artist, I like to be in my own space.
I like that answer. You got to admire that confidence.
No, I don't. I sometimes I listen to the Big Boy.
Okay,
but it is very sporadic.
Right.
And I usually just listen to like the Friday episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Big Boy. We're talking about Bourbon Pursuit,
correct?
Right? And so those of you who might be finding our podcast that don't know about them, they've been doing it a long time, and they also they have their own spirits brand now, and they do a lot of stuff in the space. But they recently released an episode as of I think about 2 weeks ago. Can't remember, about 2 weeks ago, I think, called "Would Bourbon Be Popular Without Buffalo Trace?" I saw that title and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, what are these guys talking about? Like, when I saw it, I'm not going to lie, I initially was a little bit taken back. I'm like, what are they talking about? But it was enough to get me to click through and listen. So kudos to them. And I thought that was just a massively provocative thing, and I listened to it from start to finish. And I think they made some strong points about the whole influence that Buffalo Trace has had. So what it ultimately did for me when I listened to it was it made me think of my own journey when it comes to bourbon, and specifically with Buffalo Trace. So I moved here in 2011. I've mentioned this before, but I got to mention it to this episode because it's really important. I got used to drinking things like OWA and Special Reserve. They were part of my core, like me falling in love with bourbon.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about you. Did you have much experience with the Wellerz stuff? When did you get first chance to try? Do you remember?
I actually think 12 was probably my first one. I remember my wife, we went on, I think it was a birthday.
Okay.
We went to Buffalo Trace.
Nice.
And they had a Weller night. And
Okay.
this is way before this podcast, way before collecting.
Right.
And they put, I think it was like antique 12 and 2 years of WLW down.
Really?
Right.
They're just offering you WLW.
And this is, before I knew anything.
Right.
And I was like, oh, cool, because there was a dinner. The Weller family was there. They were talking about it.
Very cool.
They served us like, I don't know, 3, 4, or 5 course dinner.
Yeah.
And we got to do the tasting at the end.
Nice.
So that was early on. So I think the 12, and then at the time I could actually go to a couple bars.
Right.
When I would actually go out, and they would have 12, and I would get it for like $9-10 a pour.
Oh yeah.
So I think 12 was probably the Weller that I probably got introduced with. Yeah.
And that's a great story, because my recollection of it is, so I moved to Kentucky. I don't know much about bourbon in general. I like bourbon. I've drank whiskey, of course, before, but I now see like all the selection that's out there. And so I lived right on the corner of Tate's Creek Road and Manowar, right where that Kroger's at. So I used to go over there, and I could literally walk into that store, and they had squat bottles of Special Reserve and OWA at all times, and Blanton's and other BT product. It just sat there. I had affinity for it from the first time I drank it. So I just went over there, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I can't remember what year it was. I feel like it was 14, 15, there and abouts, maybe 16. I don't know. That's a 3-year span. I'm not sure exactly when it happened. But I didn't used to keep a lot of bourbon in the house. I had like maybe 8 to 10 bottles at any time.
It was well before the boom.
Well before the boom. Yeah. And so I was like, I went over and I was standing there, and I'm looking. The guy's like, "You looking for something?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm looking for the OWAs, man, the Weller Antique." And he went, "Oh, it's allocated now. we don't have it anymore." And I was like, "What?" And then not even a couple months later, my wife was like, "I was looking for that Blanton's for your birthday, and nobody has it anymore." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, Blanton's used to be like on the shelf everywhere." And so that memory came flooding back to me as I was listening to the Bourbon Pursuit episode about Buffalo Trace, and I thought to myself, they ultimately came to the conclusion that Buffalo Trace is probably a big part of why bourbon boom happened, right? Because of the way that they were doing stuff with their products and how much people chase their products and line up for them and everything. And I was thinking, like, for me, that was a time when I was like, oh man, it's over. Like, I can't just go grab anything that I want anymore. Like, I have to actually collect things that I like when I see them. And other people that have been doing
barter for it.
Yeah, exactly. They're a lot longer than me might think that's stupid. But I really think that, like, that was the time in my life where I started like going, oh man, I got to get more serious about this. I got to collect. And I feel like a lot of other people did too. And that's kind of what caused this frenzy, I think, a little bit. So, I mean, that's crazy.
I think there might be some truth to it for me anyway. Because think about when you go to a restaurant, if there's a cocktail with BT in it,
right?
You're like, oh, that's a good pour. Let me enjoy this cocktail more so if it was like a Bullet or a God forbid a Willet or something.
Right.
And so, and what did I do when I went out to Colorado? They had BT on the shelf, a pick at a store. Yep. And I picked it up.
Yeah, you did. That's right.
Just to keep it in the place, just to have a pour of. I, even now, drinking stuff, I mean, if I could get BT easily, it would be probably my quote daily pour. Right. Because I enjoy it.
Exactly.
I just, the flavor profile they've created with that product, I really enjoy. So there's probably a lot of truth behind it, because now, I mean, it's so silly. We can't get, in this state, you cannot get a $25 bottle without being allocated.
Yeah. I mean, that goes through everything.
It is the bottom, I'm not going to say the bottom level of Buffalo Trace's like product line, their profiles, and so the IP they have. Yeah. And so it's just crazy that far down the stack, and it's allocated basically.
That's right. And it's crazy. It's like that now. And that's, I mean, whether that's created the frenzy or not, that drink's still good, right?
Yeah. And the picks.
Yeah.
The picks are awesome.
Oh, no doubt.
They're just an exciting, it's so funny. Early on, I used to scoff at picks. It's like, they're $10 more. Who's picking these? Right. But now it's almost like an adventure.
Oh, absolutely.
An exciting adventure normally. And I enjoy picks now.
Oh, no doubt. I agree 100%.
Would you pass, try, or buy on this bottle of NWA?
Well, this one's going to be really simple for me. I'm a buy. And I'm a buy at retail. And sometimes if I really wanted one, I would probably go secondary for it, even though secondary's crept up a little bit, right? Secondary used to be $80 all day. Now it's closer to 100 because let's just face it. I think Buffalo Trace probably could put this out at the gift shop if they wanted to, but they'd have to buy all their stocks back from Ohio.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but if it ever becomes more available again, it was one of the original ones I fell in love with, so I'd buy all day.
It's funny. I have one bottle of this, and I've yet to open it.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. I just haven't opened it. I think it's in a cabinet. I just don't go in too much.
Okay.
And I kind of forget about it. But I would be a buy as well. Even at almost full secondary, I'd probably be a buy at it.
Yeah. Well, let me throw a monkey wrench at you here.
Oh.
Did you hear that Maker's Mark is releasing their Cellar aged bourbon?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am so excited.
Yeah.
Because I messaged you and Michael about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes and yes, two, please.
Yeah.
Because what have we been saying?
Forever.
Yeah. Give us
some well-aged Maker Mark. Maker Mark. I'm losing it over here.
And it's priced at a once a year bottle.
Right.
Was it $150?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, yes.
Yeah. And I got to think about that. If Maker's Mark ever makes a move against Buffalo Trace there, I mean, those are honestly my two markers, right? I think Maker's Mark, the cast strength, we reviewed that. Good stuff.
Love it.
And putting out the well-aged stuff now.
Oh, I'm excited.
Watch out, Daniel. Watch out, Grandpap. We're coming for you.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY. Also, let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code THEMASHUP for a special discount.
Until next time, keep it neat.